Hello, this is part 2 of the Urgent International Nuclear War Summit, following up on parts 1, intro, what has been verified through research and development, R&D, until now, that keeps being verified by life sequence. First of all, I would like to ask you kindly and necessarily for extending the pause period of nuclear war. Things have to be done regarding research and development, thinking about it in ancient wisdom, publishing the videos on the usual communication channels, for example, Group Verjuida News channel on YouTube, Maria Mouchli 5458, currently named. The only one of its kind news channel. Also, the whom it may concern have to think about the information. Thus, there are procedures to make. We should keep the procedures because we need to make sure we understand what this nuclear war and situation is about. We avoid regrets and missed opportunities. Also, you are authorized to take the live videos and submit them as witness reports to UN, ICJ, ICC, EU prosecutor, international police, and so on. Now, part 2 of the Urgent International Nuclear War Summit is about Saoul David, kings of Israel, God, Philistines, and other relevant information. The senior mentor of Group Verjuida, AM, my father also, came in one day after the group published part 1, created and published it, and without listening to part 1, he started telling me this story as if he is another prophet Samuel addressing to you. What he said has multiple meanings. Thus, please concentrate and think about it. It is God advising us. Israel was without a king at some point, long time ago. They wanted a king. Saul was a farmer. Samuel, the prophet, chose Saul to be the first king of Israel and placed him to the throne of Israel. Saul was afraid to sit on the throne but he did. God taught Saul, prosecute Philistines, and when you win, make them disappear from the face of earth, because they blaspheme God's name. He did not do it. He made agreements with them. Then Samuel went to Saul and told Saul, God is angry with you. You rejected God's word, and he will substitute you. And God sent Samuel to go to Bethlehem, south of Jerusalem, on foot. There he found Yesse with 9 sons in a farmer's house. Samuel had the blessed stones, the stones filled with light when someone was blessed. Yesse checked his sons with the stones in the hands of Samuel, but none was blessed. God shed light to the mind of Samuel, and Samuel told Yesse, you have another son, a young one. He said, yes, David. He is out in the fields with the sheep. David's siblings took David home. When Samuel saw him, he took the stones in his hands, the stones filled with light. Then Samuel put blessed oil on David, and he said, come, God wants you to be a king. David told Samuel why God did not tell me directly, and he sent you from Israel. Samuel looked at him and told him that he had sinned with that answer and he should be careful. He insulted God. And it is said that Samuel told him, you're paying for this later with persecution. And the personal comment of senior mentor advisor of Group Verdrita AM is that God used to get angry easily. And my comment was, yes, Dad, but now he's highly patient. Very, very patient. Giving everyone second, third, thousand chances. His siblings, David's siblings, were officers of the Israeli army. They put him on a donkey with his harp, and they took him to Saul. Saul put him in his castle. He used to ask him to play the harp. When David got older, Saul got him married to his daughter, and they brought together successful results in the wars. Philistines by then approached the exterior of Israel with their giant Goliath. David said he would fight Goliath when he took food to his siblings, because the army was afraid to fight him. David had a slingshot. He took 3 pebbles. Philistines were laughing. They took their positions. Goliath threw David twice arrows, but he would not hit David. David threw him the pebble. The pebble hit him on the face at the point brain separates. Goliath fell down. David approached. He said, "In the name of God," and he cut off Goliath's head. David became a big name ever since. Ever since, David would win the fights of the army. People would say, Saul wins hundreds, David wins thousands. Saul attacked David, and David left with his army officers to the mountains. Philistines returned. David went to Philistines as a merchant. They hosted him. Philistines hosted people because they knew they were hungry. God wanted them killed because they polluted the holy grounds and committed blasphemy. They blasphemed God's name. So while David was hiding in the mountains, Saul also went to the mountains to fight Philistines and kill David. Saul, the first king of Israel, sent one of his officers to find a witch. The officer found a witch who complained about what he went to her for, since Saul drove all other witches away. They tried to find a witch to bring Samuel from the after-death life to tell them if they are going to win, because Philistines were approaching. Samuel, the one who returned from the after-death life through magic, through the witch, told them he is not going to win. His son is going to die on the situation Saul created, and he's going to commit suicide because his son would die because of the situation Saul created. God wanted to punish Saul because he would not listen to God, and he wanted to kill his substitute, David. He ignored God. He would not listen to God. He rejected God's will, and he would not apply God's will. And thus, despite his many good traits, what prevailed in Saul was that he rejected God. And that's committing blasphemy. Also, that is also committing blasphemy. So, while David was in the mountains and Saul went in the mountains too, while Saul was sleeping in a cave, David got in the cave and got Saul's sword. The next day he went to Saul and told him, "My king, the night you were sleeping, where were your officers? Here's your sword. See, if I wanted to kill you, I would." And Saul told him, "You are not an enemy of Israel. You are blessed." When the fight took place in that mountain, Philistines circled them. They won. They killed Absalom, the son of Saul, and Saul, when he saw that his son was murdered, was assassinated by the situation he created, committed suicide. After that, people found where David was, told him what happened, escorted him back to Israel, and he went there dancing. And he became the king of Israel. David had about 5 wives and had many children. David won the war successfully. Urias was his most loyal lieutenant, army officer. When Urias returned from the battles, it is said that he used to sleep in the palace and protect the king. When he was absent, Urias' wife visited David, took him food, and she showed him the wounds of hers. Urias flagged her. Thus David wrote a letter to his messenger asking the chief lieutenant to send Urias in a dangerous battle to be killed. And so it happened. Urias died while fighting in the name of king. Then God got very angry. Samuel, the prophet, had died at some point, so God sent another prophet to Saul to reproach David sharply for that. David did not say anything. His firstborn son with Urias' wife died. Their second child survived. That child was Solomon. The Israeli army was defeated by Philistines, and David, seeing all that, closed himself in the palace. He repented and wrote the 50th Psalm, hymn to God. He was reiterating that psalm and he was crying. Now, the psalm. Let's see how to do this to read the psalm. Okay, I think we'll go where. First, we will read it in ancient Greek and then in English. Ελέησον με ο Θεός κατά το μέγα ελαιό σου και κατά το πλήθος των εκτιμών σου εξάλειψον το νόμιμά μου. Επιπλέον πλύνομαι από τις ανομίας μου και από τις αμαρτίας μου καθάρισον με. Ότι την ανομία μου εγώ γινώσκω και η αμαρτία μου ενώπιόν μου εστί διαπαντός. Σήμωνο ήμαρτον και το πονηρόν ενώπιόν σου επίησα, όπως αν δικαιωθείς εν τις λόγοι σου και νικήσεις εν το κρίνες θέσε, ιδού γάρ εν ανομίες συνελήφθη, και εν αμαρτίες εκείσισε μη μήτηρ μου. Ιδού γάρ αλήθεια νηγάπησας, τα άδειλα και τα κρύφια της σοφίας σου εδήλωσας μη. Ραντιείς με ισόπ και καθαριστήσομαι, πλυνείς με και υπερχιόν αλευκανθήσομαι. Ακουτείς μια αγαλία στην κεφροσύνη, να αγαλιάσονται ως θέα ταπεινωμένα. Απόστρεψον το πρόσωπό σου από των αμαρτιών μου και πάσης ανομίας μου εξάλειψον. Καρδίαν καθαράν κτίσον εν ημίν ο Θεός και πνεύμα ευθές εγγέννησον εν της εγκάτης μου. Μη απορρίψεις με από του προσώπου σου και το πνεύμα σου το Άγιο. Μη αντανέλεις απ' εμού. Απόδος με την αγαλία συν σωτηρίου σου και πνεύμα τη γεμονικό στηριξών με. Διδάξον όμως τα σοδού σου και ασεβείς επί σε επιστρέψουσι. Ρίσε με ξεμάτων ο Θεός ο σωτηρίας μου. Αγαλιάσε τη γλώσσα μου την δικαιοσύνη σου. Κύριε, τα χείλη μου ανοίξεις και το στόμα σου αναγγελεί την ενεσύμ σου. Ό,τι θέλεις σας θυσία έδωκαν, ολοκαυτώματα, ούκ ευδοκίσεις. Θυσία το Θεό, πνεύμα συντετριμμένον, καρδία συντετριμμένη και ταπεινωμένη, ο Θεός ούκ εξουδενώσει. Αγάθινον γίνει η ευδοκία σου την Σιών και οικοδομηθεί το τατήχη Ιερουσαλήμ. Τότε ευδοκίσεις θυσίαν δικαιοσύνης αναφοράν και ολοκαυτώματα. Τότε ανήσους είναι επί το θυσιαστήριον σου μόσχους. And in English. Have mercy on me, O God, according to thy great mercy, and according to the multitude of thy mercies, blot out my transgression. Wash me from my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my iniquity, and my sin is before me forever. I have sinned against thee alone, and I have done evil before thee, that thou mayest be justified in thy words and overcome in thy judgment. For behold, I was conceived in iniquities, and my mother has condemned me in sins. For behold, thou hast loved the invisible things and the secrets of thy wisdom. Thou hast showed unto me. Sprinkle me with hyssop, and I will be cleansed. Wash me, and I will be whitened by snow. Thou shalt hear me rejoice and gladness, and the bones of the humble shall rejoice. Turn away thy face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Create a pure heart in me, O God, and not create a straight spirit in my bowels. Cast me not away from thy face, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Render to me the joys of thy salvation, and sustain me with a princely spirit. I will teach the wicked thy ways, and the wicked shall return unto thee. Deliver me from blood, O God, the God of my salvation. My tongue will rejoice in thy righteousness. O Lord, thou shalt open my lips, and my mouth declareth thy praise. For if thou wilt want a sacrifice, I have given. If thou wilt not please burnt offerings, a sacrifice to God, a broken spirit, a broken and humble heart, God will not destroy. Do good, O Lord, in thy good will zeal, and let the walls of Jerusalem be built. Then thou shalt be pleased with the sacrifice of righteousness, the petition, and the burnt offerings. Then they shall open gulfs upon thy altar. I don't know how accurate this translation is, but it is about that. It is deep meaning, and it is stressed that David actually prayed, and the part of θυσία του Θεού, πνεύμα συντετριμμένο, ότι η θέλησας θυσίαν εδωκάν, ολοκαυτώματα, ουκ ευδοκήσεις. For if thou wilt want a sacrifice, I have given. If thou wilt not please burnt offerings. If God prefers a sacrifice, not blood, but not burnt offerings. He wrote about 176 psalms, the mentor says, and God accepted these prayers. At that time, army officers went to David and asked him to go outside and tell them what to do. David told them, and they prayed. The prophet of God went to him because he could hear him from far away, and he told him, David, God has forgiven you. And Israel won the battle. David died praying, offering hymns to God. He kept winning the battles. He was successful until he died honorably. He was buried with honors, and his son Solomon succeeded him. That is a lot to process during the period of pausing nuclear war. Multiple layers of meaning, multiple people addressing multiple people. Think about it, and Group Verjuita is going to give some highlights to think about. It is highly deep, what was just mentioned, and it concerns everyone. Everyone. It addresses everyone. It was read the way the senior mentor AM of the group narrated it. For specific reasons it was read like this. The man fasts like a loss, not even oil, not even wine, nothing, dried food only. He prays, he confesses, he receives Holy Communion. He's of great service to Group Verjuita and the family and the community, our country and the other countries. The importance of prayer and fast, it's a product of it. Thus, it's God advising us. Think about it. Be blessed. Keep safe and well. Thank you for listening. Bye.